What's up, you salty sea dogs? I'm Dr. McKay and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I want to help those fresh new Sea of Thieves players out with a guide to survive the Sea of Thieves. This guide will be split up into different segments to help group each specific category of tips up. The categories will be along with the timestamps, so you'll be able to choose which tip you want to look at first. So the tips are: so there you go, they're the 9 tips we are going to be covering in this video. So if you know how to do some of these tips, feel free to skip to the ones you don't know. So with that intro out the way, let's dive into it with tip number 1. Right then, you're a fresh, brand new pirate, first time on the Sea of Thieves. So before you go into adventure mode, I highly recommend you do the maiden voyage first, which can be located in the main menu, here. So go complete this first and then come back here. So now you have done the maiden voyage and are somewhat familiar with the controls, the next part is starting in adventure mode. From the moment you spawn in, you're in danger, so be aware of other ships and players. But most of the time, the game spawns you at an outpost far away from other players. So this gives you time to prepare. Now before I carry on, the game's difficulty depends on the size of your crew. Solo is the hardest mode in the game. Right? Duo is also hard, so duo is 2 of you on a sloop. Right? It's hard, but it's also a bit medium, so you can work together. 3-man on a brig is easy, and 4-man on a galleon is easy, but it sometimes can be a bit tricky if you've not got the communication. So this is my opinion on the difficulties of the types of ships and players you have in your crew, and also depends on the player's skill. But this guide is tailored for all, so if at any point you are struggling, try and get a crew, or just try. So now you're at your outpost, first thing you want to do is stock up your ship. Every outpost has barrels on it, which are full of supplies. Supplies can consist of cannonballs, planks, fruit, fire bombs, plunder bombs, chain shots, curse balls, and fishing bait. Load up with as much as you can from every barrel on the island, except bait unless you want to fish. After stocking up your ship, you should have enough supplies to survive, but just remember to continue to gather resources throughout your journey. So another tip before you set sail is to turn off your lights on your ship. This will lower your visibility of being seen by other players around the seas. So that is tip number 1. So we're going to be moving on to tip number 2. Types of voyages and ways to earn gold. Right then, you're stocked up and probably wondering what is next. There are many different ways to earn gold in the Sea of Thieves, but the best ways are to purchase voyages from the different factions, which are the gold hoarders, which give you voyages to dig up chests either by an X marks the spot map or a riddle, which ends in a chest dig up. The next is the Order of Souls, which gives you a combat voyage either to kill skeletons, captains on different islands, or ghost ships, which are around islands as well, but they're in the sea, which I would avoid until you gain some ship combat experience. The next is the Merchant Alliance. This faction gives you 2 types of voyages as well. One is to collect animal crates from the merchant, and then you have to find and collect the animals on the voyage from different islands around the map. The next is cargo runs, which entails you to collect cargo from a specific NPC player and to deliver it to another NPC. The last faction in the Sea of Thieves that you can do missions, well, not missions, but stuff for, is the Reaper Bones. This faction is located at the Reaper's hideout, but you can find an emissary like station at every outpost. With this faction you don't get any voyages, but it will take any loot you collect in the game, so keep that in mind. There are also emissary flags which have 5 grades, which has the benefit of giving you extra gold and reputation for the given faction. I recommend to avoid emissary flags until you have gained experience playing, because having an emissary flag up makes you a target for players running the Reaper's flag. So until you're confident, just stick with the regular voyages. The other ways to earn gold are from fish and cooked meat, which can be sold to the Hunter's Call faction, which are located at each sea post around the map. The others are from killing the Megalodon, skeleton ships and the Kraken, mermaid statues, forts, or sinking other players. But you can also find treasure around floating barrels, sunken shipwrecks, or found randomly on islands. So there's plenty of ways to find loot. So have plenty of chances to find and earn loot. But for this guide, let's do a gold hoarder voyage. Which brings us to the tip number 3. Beginning your voyage. Right then, you're stocked up and have chosen your voyage. Now to find your destination. Each voyage tells you the location you need to go. So go to your ship and look at the map table at the back and find your island, which is appearing on your handheld map. Now you know where you're going, you need to set sail, which with the maiden voyage, it should have taught you how to set sail, so we won't cover that today. Tip number 4, awareness while sailing. Now you're sailing, you need to be aware of other ships, so use your spyglass to scan the horizon for sails and learn what each ship is. 1 sail is a sloop or skeleton sloop, 2 sails is a brigantine, or 3 sails is a galleon or a skeleton galleon. Knowing the ship types is important and could save your loot. So the next tip is island approach and awareness. Tip number 5. Right then, you have now sailed safely to your destination and your island is ahead of you. You have 2 options of stopping. The easiest way is to just drop anchor and stop, or the other way is to raise your sails slowly and approach, and this allows you to park and adjust your position as necessary. This is the preferred choice, but before leaving your ship, make sure your sails are up, anchor is up, and your ship is positioned facing away from the island. This allows for a quick escape if another ship is coming towards you. So while you're on the island doing your voyage, keep an eye out for other ships. Always keep your head on a swivel looking around at the horizon for any other ships, and if you do see a player ship coming towards you, keep calm. Alright, head straight to your ship and drop sails, which brings us to the next tip. Tip number 6, player ships do's and don'ts. So you're in a situation now with a ship chasing you. Now depending on your ship type and theirs, there are a few tricks you can do. So let's start with yours. You're on a sloop being pursued by a galleon. What you need to do is position your sloop into the wind, so the wind is coming at you, so you're not going with it. The sloop is way faster than the galleon in the wind, so just keep this up until they give up. But if they don't, try and outwit them by doing tight turns around rocks, as the galleon does not turn quick. But be careful of the harpoon, because if they're skilled crew, they can use the harpoon to turn quicker. So don't go with the wind, because the galleon will catch you straight away. So with the brig, it's roughly the same tactic, but the brig is quicker and more maneuverable than the galleon. So just don't panic or get angry, because if they catch you or sink you, this is what the game is about. Don't trust anyone, even if they appear friendly. Now if you're on a brig or a galleon, you can attempt to fight, but that comes with a high risk of sinking. So if you want to avoid a fight, just do your best with your ship's advantages and good luck. But like I said, don't get angry if you sink, because that's what the game is about. Now for the next tip. Tip number 7, emergent threats. So as you're sailing through the seas, you will encounter numerous in-game threats such as the Megalodon, skeleton ships and the Kraken. To deal with each situation, you need to know what limits and dangers they pose. So let's start with the Meg. The Meg appears randomly while sailing. It is a low threat by itself and can be beaten easily using cannons or guns. It will do between 2 to 4 holes of damage per bite, and if you sail close to an island, it normally leaves. Next is skeleton ships. These ships can be encountered 3 ways. 1, randomly on the seas, where they are just sailing around doing their own thing. You can encounter both sloops and galleons this way, and you can avoid combat with these. Unless you get too close, then they could aggro and then they'll start shooting, and the only way really to get away is to sink them. The next way, the skeleton ships will appear from the water next to you with music in the background, so you will be aware of their presence. These ships will immediately attack you and will chase you, and depending on the ship type you are on, it will depend on the type of skeleton ship that will spawn. So if you're on a sloop, it will spawn only sloops. A brigantine is a sloop or a galleon, sorry. And if you're on a galleon, you'll only get galleons. Yeah, it's also very tricky to get away from these ships, so it's best to take them down as quickly as possible. And the third way you can encounter skeleton ships is by sailing into skeleton fleets. Now these are located by the ship cloud in the sky. This is a world event, and in this event there are 3 waves of 2 ships in each wave, comprised of both the sloop and the galleon skeleton ship. Once sunk the captain on the last wave, you will have completed the event and be rewarded greatly by a ton of loot dropped by the captain ship. These are hard solo but can be done by yourself with skill. The final threat is the Kraken. This beast will only spawn when there are no world events active in the sky. It starts by a drop in the game music followed by the water going black, and then the Kraken will emerge and start attacking. I've done a guide already on how to beat the Kraken, so go check it out if you're struggling to beat it. So that covers all the emergent threats. Now on to the next tip. Tip number 8. Know your limits. This tip is more for your skill and confidence in playing. You need to know your skill in ship combat. Can you survive encounters? Are you confident in losing a player ship that is chasing you? How much loot do you have on? Are you in a crew that are communicating or not? Is your ship stocked up? Knowing these things will give you the judgment to survive various situations on the seas. But your skill and experience will also grow and change your opinions and options. So the decision is yours to make in that specific moment. Just don't get angry. Like I said, if you sink, it is a learning curve. The more you sink, the more ways you learn to survive. So hopefully you don't quit the game if you sink too much. I sunk loads, and it's made me a better pirate. So for the next tip and the last tip is tip number 9. When and where to sell your loot. Right then, you have made it this far, your ship full of loot and your pulse is racing, worried you may lose your hard-earned loot. There are 8 locations you can sell your loot. These are the outposts. On the outposts you will find the same factions as you did on your starting outpost. All your chests and trinkets go to the gold hoarder, skulls go to the Order of Souls, and merchant crates go to the merchant. But if you have a Reaper's chest, red or yellow, you will need to go to the Reaper's hideout. You may also have Ashen chests. These go to Duke in the tavern, and you can also purchase keys to open the Ashen chests. But these cost 99 doubloons, which is your blue current. And going back to the Reapers, if you're running a Reaper flag or you want to level up your Reaper Bones faction, they will take all of your loot, so every single thing like chests, trinkets, skulls, merchant stuff, Ashen chests, the stuff in the Ashen chests, literally everything. They take everything apart from fish. So if you sail over to the Reaper's hideout, you'll be able to sell all your loot there, but it can be quite risky because there is literally just the one place you can sell, and people tend to either camp there to try and catch you off guard, especially if you've got a Reaper box. So yeah, just sell there at your own risk. So I think that's all of the basic tips for new players that I could think of. And if you have any other problems with the game, please leave me a comment and I'll try and help you out. And if you did like the guide video and it's helped, please leave a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, please ask them. So yeah, I'll do my very best to try and help out as many people who comment on this video as possible. And also, if you follow me on Twitch, you'll be able to watch me live on the seas, and you'll be able to see how I play if you are struggling, and maybe pick up some tips or tricks that I do. So yeah, the link of that's in the description below. So I've been Dr. McKay, thank you for watching, happy sailing, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.